name is Sushant Upadhyay. I'm a partner with Aon Hewitt consulting business. I look after our talent consulting group here in the Middle East and Africa region. Whenever we talk about technology and the role of artificial intelligence and how machine learning is happening and things like that, it always, to me, throws up 2 or 3 different dimensions, and that's what I tried to touch upon today. A little bit about the social implication of that. We start very quickly equating the use of more technology, the robots are coming, the jobs are going away, and all of that. And while there is truth in that, the other way of looking at it is that it is not a wealth creation problem, it's a wealth distribution problem. We are giving a lot of equity to the idea. Somebody comes up with a technology platform, does something, has 7 people, and gets $1 billion valuation, and that's a wealth distribution problem. And the decoupling that has happened between entrepreneurship and job creation is having its own impact as well. So it's more of a fixing of the financial markets and the financial models in which organizations work, etc., that needs to happen. So I set that context because it is important for us to know that there'll always be a social implication, but let's not blame technology for job losses and for the wealth distribution problem that we seem to have in the world today. The second thing that I touched upon is the whole phenomenon of the ethical boundaries, if you will, of this whole phenomenon. That you will have technology coming in, intelligent machines which will become smarter than human beings very quickly, and they start deciding, how do you define the boundaries? How do you make sure that the person who is programming it, what we are writing as the code in there, doesn't make it into a Frankenstein for us? And that will be an important consideration that businesses will need to be particular about and not cross the limits of ethical behavior, so to say, in that context. And then finally, which is more home turf for me, I'm not an economist, I'm not an expert in social sciences, but the final part of it is that what do we do as HR people? What does it mean for us as HR professionals, this whole advancement in technology that is happening today? And I had 4 key points to make around that. One, that data is becoming far more important than it has ever been. And what that means is that companies just don't need to have 2 data scientists or 2 analysts in one corner who are comfortable with data. Every single person who works for a company, from the CEO to the pantry boy, needs to be comfortable with data and be able to hence contextualize data and make better business decisions, better organizational decisions basis that. So comfort with data is very important, and we as HR need to make sure that everybody that we are hiring going forward has that comfort and is trained to have that comfort. The second thing, which is very important as well, is the whole aspect of learning to learn. The speed at which skills are becoming redundant, people are, something which was hot 2 years ago is already becoming like a passé skill and so on. So it's important that individuals have the orientation, and we as HR facilitate continuous learning for individuals who work for us. Keeping them employable, keeping them relevant in future is going to be an important part of the employee promise that we make to colleagues who join us. The third aspect is the whole aspect of ethics and empowerment. And HR needs to define certain boundaries around how are decisions made, what is the delegation of authority, at what time do managers look at data, and how do they balance it with a perspective, with the qualitative aspects and the emotional aspect of it. So sometimes if HR doesn't play an important role in enabling that, the challenge will be that some people will go down the path of becoming machines that take decisions just basis data, and some will live in the fuzzy world of just qualitative gut feel based stuff. So if we want to drive a little more standardization about it, HR needs to facilitate that for managers and leaders in the organization. And I think finally the key point from an HR operations standpoint is about the advent of the networked organization. Increasingly in future, people will not just sit physically together and work. It'll not just be mostly full-time employees and employees of the organization that will work on a project. It'll be a team that will come together for a purpose, for an objective, work for 2 months together, 3 months together. They might be from 10 different places, from 10 different organizations, what is now being called as the gig workforce. They'll come together, they'll accomplish the task and move on. What does that mean for your sourcing strategy for talent? What does that mean for performance management systems, for reward systems for organizations? And what does that mean for even the career and learning of people? Because how can they be effective in that kind of a networked working style will be very important for HR to facilitate. So these, I thought, would be key takeaways for HR to really remodel how we enable organization success in future as HR. The key thing will be working in networked organizations. The future of workforce will be that it will not be a static workforce of people sitting together and doing a job for 3 years together. It'll be about people doing, there are studies that essentially are saying that people will do maybe 25 different jobs or 200 different gigs in their career. And so these gigs will be the way people will work. Workforce will be complementary skill sets coming together, accomplish a task and going away. And that to me will add great excitement. It will keep to the tune of learning to learn. It will keep challenging people in different ways, but we will not have any permanent colleagues probably in future. So that to me is the future of workforce. What excites me the most is that there is continuous learning, there's change. It is, the speed of change has become much faster and we need to adapt to that. But that is the exciting part as well. Great talent, good quality talent anywhere in the world doesn't flourish if you keep them in a comfort zone. I've become very good at something for 2 years and then I keep doing that for 10 years because the organization thinks that I do that very well. That whole mindset is being broken today. And it'll need to be broken with the advancements that we are having. Robots or machines are nibbling away at everybody's job, irrespective of the color of the collar that they have. And that is exciting. How do we keep competing with a smarter species called artificial machines? The biggest learning really is that we are coming together as professionals and talking about how we work together with machines, how we work together with artificial intelligence, how we need to evolve the workforce on how we work together in terms of operating models and teams. So to me, that's the great learning from this, and ASHRM is kind of leading the thinking around this, and that'll be fantastic for us to be better prepared as AI machines arrive. And as I was reading somewhere and it said that there are predictions that by 2025 there will be artificially intelligent machines on boards of companies. So one of your board members might be a machine. And how do we prepare for that? So it's very exciting to look into the future a little bit, to whatever extent we can, and prepare better for it as HR professionals. So that's the takeaway.